Welcome to the Making Moves with Mal podcast. In every episode, you'll hear stories from individuals just like you that are trying to make an impact. They'll share their unique journey and some helpful tips that got them to where they are now. You'll hear conversations with people from all walks of life who are trying to make some moves. Now, here's your host, Mal.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us on another episode of Making Moves with Mal. I'm excited today. I have my guest here, Juan Manuel Castro with JMC Construction. He is an entrepreneur, a woodworker, and
yes.
Would you call yourself a general contractor? Or
yes, general contractor.
Okay,
yes.
perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And he's building his practice, and
Yes.
I've had the pleasure of having some work done by you, and I
Yeah.
can say that it's been an amazing experience from the very beginning to the final product. So
I'm glad you liked it.
thank you for coming on today, bro. I
Yeah,
appreciate
no.
your time.
Thank you for having me. I
Thank
appreciate
you. And we kind of go back a little bit because we've
Yes.
got, it's crazy. We just talked a little bit before the episode started, but there's a lot of like mutual friends that are involved. And like,
Yes.
it's crazy to see how Chicago is such a small city, man.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
is a big but small city.
It's a big city, but it's,
Yeah.
you meet a lot of the same
Yes,
people.
I agree.
Crazy. Because, so if we take it back to when the passion or the interest for getting into construction, when did that start? Like, how did that come about?
Well, this was kind of like a hidden passion because I always knew that I was good with my hands, working with my hands, and I started working with my stepdad when I was 16.
Okay.
He was a framer, so framing houses, and this was back in Arizona.
In Arizona? Okay.
Yeah. So
Did you grow up there? Or?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
nice.
And so during the summer, he would take me, and it was very well paid.
Okay.
Like in like a couple of months, I would make so much money.
Right.
Yeah. And
As
I
a
was like,
16-year-old, like,
Yeah.
wow, that's good stuff.
yeah. So I kind of discovered there that, hey, I'm good with my hands. But I proceeded to go with school, graduated high school. I kind of went a different path. And then I graduated from college. And then right after, I always had it in my mind, like, I need to have my own property.
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? I want to get a fixer-upper because I do have some experience. I'm good with my hands. And
For sure.
that's what I did. And that's what kind of like awakened that
Re-sparked
yes.
the interest of
Mhm.
or the passion for
Yeah,
construction.
yeah.
Nice.
And so it was a great experience.
What did you do like in your property? Like, what are some of the upgrades or changes?
Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was in bad shape, to be honest with you. The inside, the bathroom was horrible. The kitchen was horrible. And so I took on that, and to be honest with you, it was kind of intimidating, but it developed my character, and then it just showed me that I was really good at it. So I was like, you
Gave
know
you
what?
that reassurance.
Yeah. And then people, when I was done with my house and I was showing people like my house, they're like, man, this is amazing, like this is a really, really good work. And so that gave me confidence, and I was like, you know what? Let me see if it sticks. And so I started like, doing little work here and there, and then that's how.
So you started getting like little side projects after people saw what you could do.
Yes.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's how it starts, right? It's like you build that confidence. You start getting practice in. It's the reps. You put in those reps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so that was what? That's in the span of what, a couple of years, right? Because you
about
buy
3
your property
years.
in
2019.
right?
Yeah, right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Which was like, man, I thank God for that. It was just like perfect timing.
Yeah.
Because I bought my property. I was maybe like 6 months into it. Then the pandemic hit.
Right.
And so I started working from home.
Okay.
So
it gave you a little bit more time to kind of.
Yeah, because I work night shift, so I would wake up and I just pretty much would work on my project and finish that, and then like the pandemic, it was. I feel bad for some people because they would be like, "Hey, this has been a horrible time for me," but I'd be like, hey, "This was very beneficial for me." Honestly.
Yeah, it honestly comes down to just that mindset, man.
Yeah.
Because you're not the only person that we've had on the show where they told us like the pandemic hit, and you have to make a choice. You're either gonna maximize that opportunity of the time you have, or you're gonna dwell and you feel sorry for yourself about it. So I think it just comes down to how you set up your mindset to to overcome like a challenging situation that we were all in, man. Like it really showed the people that had the true grit and true willingness to overcome that obstacle, man. So that's awesome that you took that opportunity to your advantage, and you built and you learned from it. Yeah. So what would you say now some of the projects that you've done, like some of the maybe more notable stuff that you've worked on or that you've been able to be a part of?
Well, just pretty much like what I did at my house is just kind of like repetitive, working on bathrooms, electrical, remodeling, woodwork.
Okay.
I would say that working with wood for me, it's like therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I really, like, for example, when I was working on your mantle, I just had this vision, and then I saw this piece of wood and I was like, this is going to look beautiful, you know?
It is beautiful, man.
Yeah. So like from the very beginning, whenever I see like a piece of wood or something, I kind of see like the finished product.
Okay.
And I just see so much beauty in it.
You can visualize what can come from it.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We see that a lot in the real estate space. You know, like you mentioned, you know, you walk through a beat up house or a house that's maybe not in the best condition, and you have two types of people that look at it in two different ways, right?
Yes.
You have the one that sees the vision and can visualize this in a completely different light with, you know, new finishes, new flooring, new windows, new doors, whatever the case is. And then you have those that just don't have the ability to see what the final product is, and they're so focused on what's there and now.
Yes.
So yeah, no, that's definitely interesting, man. That you can actually
turn it into something. You need to have vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, in order to see things, because that's I thank God for that gift that I have, is that I always see the end product. I always see what it can be.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, it has worked out for me, honestly, because when you have a vision, I've noticed that when you start with the end, whenever you're going through rough times or you feel discouraged, you go back to your vision, like, okay, this is the end.
The reason why you're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is where I'm going. Yeah. And so it just motivates you, you know, it gives you that fuel that you need to keep going.
For sure, man. It's that it gives you that one thing to look forward to.
Yes.
That, you know, like, okay, if I just keep doing this, if I keep pushing one step further along, you know, every day or whatever, you're going to eventually get to that final destination.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy that journey along the way. Mm-hmm. That's incredible, man. So you still work, obviously you still have your job, and now you're trying to kind of build this kind of side business. Is your plan to turn this into like your full-time business in the long run? Yeah. Yeah.
So I designed my business plan.
Okay, nice.
So that's why I was talking about, to have that begin with the end in mind.
Yes.
Because I've been, you know, reading books, listening to podcasts in business, and even before I started working on my own side gig, I had this like flame within me, like I want to do something just on my own. You know, I want to start my own thing. Like, nothing against a 9-to-5. You know? I mean, there are people for everything, but for me, that doesn't work. You know, so I designed my business plan. My girlfriend helped me, actually. Awesome. And so you know, I just kind of like broke it into like different steps, and to have metrics. Right. You know, because if you're not able to measure your progress and like have certain deadlines,
you got to be able to track.
Yeah. You're not gonna be able to reach those goals that you have.
Right. And that's where you see the lack of progression, like not an actual game plan in place. It becomes very difficult to see that end product or that end vision when there's no sense of direction.
Yes. Yeah. I agree.
For sure, man. So I'm curious, man, to going back to kind of when you found this passion of being able to like do things with your hands and working with your stepdad and everything. Did you do, like, I know you said you spent that summer like helping him out. Did you do anything throughout like your years, maybe during college and stuff, like that ever still come to like top of mind for you, or
no? So all the things that I did was during high school, actually.
During high school?
Yeah, I was taking shop class.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I had this woodworking class that I took maybe for, I think it was like 3 semesters. That was a great experience, and I think that's I was able to retain that information after so many years.
Right.
Yeah, because I remember like when I went to Home Depot and I was buying some tools and like a table saw and stuff like that. I was a little bit intimidated, to be honest with you, because it had been a
lot of stuff in
time.
there.
Yeah, it had been a long time. But then once I started like doing it, it just kind of like came back to me.
Right.
And so, yeah, and then also like I was saying, that class it was really good. My teacher was very supportive and very funny too. I remember, because I'm a short man, so I think I was like one of the shortest in the class, and I built this entertainment center.
No way.
It was like the biggest project of the class. And he's like, "What's up, man? You trying to make up for your height?" I was like,
"That's hilarious."
Yeah. So he was cool
That's
guy,
awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big piece of like why people do what they do too. It's like if they find somebody that kind of helps them see the passion in something too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have that person that can motivate you or can
Yeah.
show you that this is actually, fun, or, there's a true passion behind it that you can keep going.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, when it comes to construction, woodworking, all that stuff, you're still learning stuff. Like there's still new like techniques, new skills and stuff. How have you been kind of been able to either keep up or adapt to like either new ways of doing things?
Yeah.
What's your how do you develop that skill on your end?
So you need to have a mentor. And I am very fortunate, very blessed, because my stepdad has been my mentor.
Nice. He's still in the construction business?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So he was framing, but then he switched onto like general remodeling.
Okay.
So he's been doing general remodeling for a very long time now.
Nice.
10 plus years or something like that.
Amazing.
So he's a master. You could say that he's a master at what he does.
He's put in his hours, yeah.
Yeah. And so during the pandemic, there was a lot of FaceTime between me and my stepdad.
Okay.
Yeah, like I'd be like, "Hey, so how do you do this?" And so he was coaching me.
Yeah.
And that made me realize, like, you do need a coach in order to do things. And like, if you don't have a coach, for people out there, like YouTube was my best friend too.
Dude, that's been a common thing too, man. It's like the vast knowledge and information that's out there already for free.
Yes.
Like, you just got to find it.
Yeah.
You just have to get out there and find it.
Like this era that we live in I think that is the easiest era where you can make a lot of money, but you just need to just be creative and be willing, honestly.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to. It's putting in the work that it takes.
Yeah. And then like going back to what you asked, like for me, I like to go to, like, for example, Floor and Decor.
Yeah.
I love going to that store, honestly. And because they have like showpieces that are keeping up with trends and things like that. Sure. And like I do research online too, like on Pinterest or I just Google like, kitchens on 2020. So,
designs,
so you have to continue to educate yourself. I think that's in every craft.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you have to just have the mindset of being a student.
Yeah, because it's all, no matter what you do, it's always evolving, right? You become a more knowledgeable person, and the industry evolves itself. Yes. So you can't be stuck in just what you learn, and that's the only thing you know, because then other people are going to keep evolving and become better and better, and you don't want to be left behind.
Yeah, that's the thing about capitalism. It's like you have to keep evolving, and that's what keeps things interesting too.
Yeah. You have to, 100%, man.
Yeah, if not, then you're kicked out of the market.
Yeah, yeah. So let's take it back to kind of again the business side of things, right? So things are growing, things are progressing. How did you get like your first couple of like actual client, like where you actually somebody paid you to do a product or a job for them?
So this was a recommendation through one of my friends. So a friend recommended me. He's more than a friend. He's a brother, honestly.
Nice.
And so I remember I was on vacation, visiting my parents in Arizona, and then I just got a call, and then it was this lady that needed to fix her deck.
Okay.
And she's like, "Hey, Nick, my friend, my brother, hey, Nick recommended me to you and recommended you to me, and I just want to see if you could come out." And so I went out and that's how it started.
That's awesome, man.
And I remember that I was talking to another good friend of mine because, like that self-doubt sometimes kicks in. And he's like, brother, he's like, just do it, man. Like, I mean, you're gonna make mistakes, whatever, but like, if you don't do it right now, like, you're gonna look back in 10 years, like,
and regret not doing it.
Yeah. So that's how it started, and then it just kind of like just been snowballing from there. And also, I've taken initiative, like, like sometimes when it has been slow, like I go to Home Depot and I just talk to people.
Okay.
And I tell them like, hey, so this is what I do. And
you prospect for business. Yeah. I mean, I think that's an important part of building a sustainable business. You know, like
the marketing aspect.
The marketing aspect is huge because yes, we can rely on our friends, we can rely on our family to put the word out for us. Yeah. But at the end of the day, that only goes so far, right? You need to elevate your marketing and make sure that you can bring in as many prospects and leads that you can service in the future. So that's a good way to start for sure, man. Like, would you say that the majority of your the people you've worked with have come from like referrals or recommendations like that?
Well, now the majority has just been like me going out there and like looking for work.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Like just, like I said, just putting myself out there. And that's what's been working for me.
I think that's so important, man. Actually putting yourself out there, like on social media, especially, man. Yes. Because it's funny, like, I would have never reached out to you had I not seen, like, I think you posted something, a video of a job that you were doing. I was like, oh man, I had no idea that you were, in construction, and having that visibility by the power of social media. I was like, okay, well, let me reach out. Let me look at, I have a project in mind. Yeah. And it worked out.
I'm really glad I recognized that. Yeah. Because social media is such an essential tool for a business, especially.
Oh, I think especially for a small business, like local small businesses, like I think it's a definite requirement. Yeah. Like if you don't have any sort of presence online where people can see what you've done, people can find your, either previous projects, some testimonials, some some reviews, you're gonna be left behind, man. We're living in a technology based age where social media, your phone, like that's where people find stuff now. Yes. They're Googling stuff, they're searching on social media for stuff, and if you have no presence, you're gonna be, like you said, you're gonna be left behind.
Yeah, that's why like I'm very intentional whenever, like, I mean, you would think it looks kind of funny because, like part of my equipment now is a tripod.
I know, yeah.
A tripod with a light.
Right.
And I just record my, like little pieces of the progress of the different projects that I do.
But that's the beauty of it, man, because you're showcasing like the raw process then and there. And, not only can people relate to like seeing, people love seeing like, those like unboxing videos or like, a transformation video, like things like that. So like that alone is very just pleasing to see. Yeah. But then, the fact that you can actually do that for them too, it adds that level of comfort and hopefully brings you more business. I'm assuming you're getting at least some more activity through social media now as well.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Right. Yeah.
Have you, and I know this is something that every small business works on still, but do you think you have like your sales process down now, like from start to finish?
No, to be honest.
Still working on that?
Yeah, I'm still working on that. So there are so many things that I'm working on, and I realize that I'm the type of person that likes to do everything. Yeah. But I realize I cannot do everything myself. Yeah. And so that's now what is coming down to is like I need to get creative on how to delegate all that type of work. How to build my team now. I feel like I'm at that stage where like I need to build my team in order to continue to be successful.
That's true, man. That's the only way you can elevate and scale. Yeah. What's been your biggest project so far? Like, what is the biggest thing you've worked on?
The biggest thing,
aside from your house. I mean, that's probably that was probably like a massive undertaking there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it took me 3 years to finish it.
Wow. Yeah. Dude, crazy.
3 years. It was a very long time, but now
you did it all yourself, or did you have some help?
Most of it.
Yeah.
I would say like 85% of it I did.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. But I'm very glad that I did it.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm very glad. So actually it was the first thing that I did, the deck restoration.
The deck, okay.
Yeah, because so my initial thought was like, okay, I'm gonna go and restore this deck, apply a new coating. But then it turned out that So this deck was built on top of a sunroom. And so,
okay, so it was a raised deck.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, it was on top of a sunroom because the sunroom was underneath it, and there every time that it rained, there was the lady didn't tell me this, but there was a leak. There was like a moisture problem, and so
okay.
So I called
obviously it's coming from the roof.
Yeah, so I called my mentor, my dad, and I was like, hey, this is what's happening. Like, he's like, there's a leak somewhere. I can guarantee you 100%.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So then it turned out to be that there was like a big piece of rot like underneath. So I pretty much had to disassemble the whole thing.
The entire deck?
The entire deck. I had to disassemble it. I had to lay down like new roofing material. I had to cut out like a big piece of the roof.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was a little bit intimidating because I was like, man, I mean, but my dad has always been very encouraging. He's like, just do it, man. You can do it. You know, it's not awesome, man. It's not that difficult. You know, it's not that serious. You know?
Right.
It's not rocket science. You know.
Hey, you find a way at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right?
So I did that, and it took me like 12 days to finish it, and so it turned out great. The leak stopped, and she was very happy with the job.
12 days. Man.
12 days.
That's wow.
And you know what's so crazy too is like, so I was learning how to like calculate how long it was going to take.
Right.
Because, you know, in order for your business to be successful, it has to be profitable too.
Yeah, you have to manage. Exactly.
Know?
Of course.
So I was like, okay, 12 days. I have to pay myself so much.
Right.
Plus the materials and all that. So I was like, okay, so this is what's going to cost. And I was like right on the money. I kind of guessed it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's one way to do it, man.
But it worked out. So it just gave me an idea. Okay, so this is the pace that I work. Because I think like it's like when I was working at my house, it's a different level of comfort than working for somebody else. It's kind of like
there's a little more pressure of like meeting deadlines and things like that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Plus, you're in their space. You gotta accommodate to that.
You're so the goal here is speed too. You know,
right?
Like you can't just drag it out too much. If not, you start losing money.
Well, you got to set that expectation from the beginning, right? You can't tell a client, "Oh, it's going to take a week," and then it takes you a month, and they're like, they're probably not going to be happy with that.
No,
right?
definitely not. Like, and then also, right before I started, I was talking to a good friend that lives in Colorado. He has a construction business too, and he was just telling me, he's like, you have to under-promise and over-deliver.
100%.
Yeah, because if you
if you do the other way,
it's not going to go good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing that a small business has is their reputation.
Yes.
You know, and it's so easy to break, and all it takes is one person to be like, this service was terrible, this was bad.
It's so fragile.
And now that we're in a digital world where anybody can put their feelings, express themselves online. You don't want like a bad review. You don't want somebody to like badmouth your business.
Yeah.
And so
you don't want to be canceled.
You don't want to be canceled. Exactly, bro. That's exactly what you want. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it's so it can happen in so quickly, right? So there's a lot of moving parts there, I'm sure, man.
Yeah.
The deck was the biggest project, man.
Yes.
And then from there, it's just been kind of
just like small projects. So like right now, this lady has asked me to remodel her whole kitchen.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty decent sized project.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's gonna. So right now I'm just working on putting together a quote.
Nice.
And a couple of designs, just to show her, see if she would like to do that.
That's awesome, man. How would you say, like for somebody that wants to, maybe somebody that's just starting, right? Like I know you mentioned that. I think that was so powerful. Is like having a mentor, having somebody that's done it already. You know, it's going to help your learning curve. It's going to help you learn things and develop a little bit faster. But what would you say, like a piece of advice for somebody that's thinking of getting into becoming a contractor or wants to start working with their hands?
Yeah.
Maybe they, maybe education is not their route, but they see the passion and they see the interest in building stuff and working with their hands. Like, what is some of the advice that you would give them? Like, where would they start? Like, if that's the route they want to take?
I would say, if you have a space where you can do things for yourself, start with like projects for you.
Okay, so like little DIY
things.
Projects on your own.
And also like find your strengths, because like sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves and say like, well, maybe I'm not good at this, but maybe I'm good at this.
Right.
So you kind of have to find your strengths, and then once you find your strengths, then start working on projects. So step number one is find your strengths, find where you're good at. Okay, practice, but practice.
Figure out what that is. Yeah.
Practice with yourself first.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go into like another people's home to practice. Honestly, because like when I was working on my home, I mean, I made a lot of mistakes, but I am glad that I did it on my house.
Right.
Because
had that been a client, it could have been
it would have ruined my reputation.
Yeah, 100%.
So I would say just or ask friends like, hey, I'm trying to get into this. Would you like me to build you this for free? Right. Yeah. When you say free and just set the expectation like, hey, this is free. It might not be the best quality because I'm starting, but like this is for free. Yeah. And a lot of people are open for that. So I would say, just do that. And then once you have determined and people validate like your product, your skill, then go for it. Yeah. 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 I think from a product-based business like that, where like you're actually building a product from something to nothing, or from nothing to something, right? Yeah. I think that's an amazing way to kind of start, because it does two things, right? It helps you develop and learn those skills along the way with less pressure, right? Yes. But then it helps you build that portfolio. A common thing that I hear from a lot of these like service-based or product-based businesses is the concept of free to fee. So you start free, you build on your portfolio, you put in more hours, you put in those reps, you get better and better to the point where you can then start charging for your stuff. Yes. And you're adding value to that. So I think that's the best way somebody can definitely start. And another way that you might be able to do it is like just go work for a construction company. Yeah. But I think that there's like a danger there to become comfortable in that position. Okay. Because like now construction is very well paid. Right. Yeah. So you can go work for a construction company, get good at it, and maybe become like a project manager. Okay. But then you're going to be comfortable and you're going to be like, well, I mean, I kind of want to start it, but you don't have that kind of like drive. Yeah, that drive. And you become very comfortable. So I would say for people who really have a definite, that goal in mind, like I want to start my own thing, and for a fact you're not going to deviate, go work for a construction company. Okay. Definitely. That's another route that you can take as well.
Go all in. Yeah. Learn as much as you can. For sure. Yeah. Awesome, man. What have been some of like maybe some of the obstacles that you've faced, or some of the challenges that you've learned through like doing this this journey of becoming a contractor?
It's just, I would say that I am my biggest obstacle. Yeah. That is the thing. Like, once you are able to overcome yourself, that's what I've discovered. Once I have been able to overcome myself, it's like there's no limit, honestly. Right. So that's like, for example, my emotions, the fear of rejection. Yeah. It's that's
what stops so many people, man.
It can be terrifying, to be honest with you. It can be terrifying, like, and so those have been the major obstacles. I mean, like the knowledge aspect, I really don't consider an obstacle, because like I said at the beginning, I am very blessed that I have a mentor. Yeah. And if my dad doesn't know something, I go to YouTube. I do research.
You gotta be a student of the game. Yeah.
So I really don't see that as an obstacle. It's just mostly overcoming fear and having that discipline and that consistency, because there are some days where you're gonna go out and you're not gonna see anything, to be honest with you. Yeah. You're not gonna see any progress for days, maybe weeks, but you still have to continue. Yeah. Yeah.
That is the life of an entrepreneur. We talked about that when we started, man. It's uncertain and every day is different. But as long as you have that game plan in mind, you know what you're doing, and you see the final product, you see the vision. Yes. You take those daily steps to make it a reality, man. So that's amazing, dude. If somebody wanted to utilize your services, if somebody was interested in getting a project done, do you work, I know you're local to Chicago, so do you work Chicago surrounding suburbs? Do you have like a limit of like how far you're willing to go for a project?
As of right now, since I'm starting, to be honest with you, I'm willing to take I mean, I'm not gonna go to a different state, obviously,
Right.
you know, but the Chicagoland area,
surroundings. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I've gone as far as Crete, Illinois. So it's like a 45 an hour, you know.
Okay.
So yeah, because I'm like, I live in Chicago.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm willing to travel like an hour, you know, an hour and a half. Like, I really don't mind doing that. Yeah.
Perfect. And then line of projects, like, do you do plumbing, electrical?
So on the plumbing aspect, not so much like small little things I'm able to do. Like, for example, I recently redid the faucet of a bathroom. Okay. Because, you know, sometimes they, like the old school ones, they have the 3 at the bottom. Yeah. And now, you know, you have the one in the middle. Yeah. So I'm able to do that, like smaller things. But like the good thing though is that as a general contractor, I was able to have, you know, some connections. I'm able to have some connections where if there's a job that is too big, you know, hey, like I just source that out. Right. Yeah, I source that out. But yeah, you know, just like small things, like for electricity, the same. Like I'm able to do certain things. Okay. But when it comes, like if you were to ask me, like, hey,
to rewire a whole house,
I'd be like, you know what? Let me hire somebody else. I'm gonna be there, you know, like checking, making sure that the job is being done correctly, because I do know how it's done. But I rather have someone that's like an expert when it comes to like a whole house. Right. Yeah. But if it's like, if you need like an extra outlet, if you need like, you know, some lights, you know, can lights.
Yeah, we did my outlet. Yeah, that was pretty,
you know, some lights that you need to run, or just maybe like rewire a whole new room or an extension of a home. I'll do that. You know?
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Interior and exterior projects, right? So like kitchen, bathroom remodels, you know, custom
additions,
custom woodworking stuff, right? Amazing, perfect. And where can people find you? Like, where can they, if they want to call you or book you for services?
So you
best
can
way to reach you.
So you can go to my Instagram. My Instagram is at BuildsJMC, and so you can find me there. You can also Google me, JMC Construction and Woodworking.
Perfect. I appreciate you taking the time today, man. It was very insightful to see kind of how your business is developing and growing. You're still in those infancy stages. Where do you see it in the next, 5 to 10 years?
So my business plan, I designed it for 10 years.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, 10 years. So in 10 years, I see my business with a brick and mortar location.
Okay, like a showroom type thing?
Yeah. Nice. You know, with a fleet of vehicles. Multiple crews, maybe like 5 or 6 crews, you know. So
man, you're thinking big. I love it.
Yeah, like I will, you know, like my company is gonna be worth multi-million-dollar company. That's my goal. Yeah.
Perfect, dude. That's amazing, man. I think you can definitely do it, man. I wish you nothing but the best on that, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for taking the time today to join us on this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. See ya. Peace.